Pledge of Allegiance with me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Please welcome the Draper Executive Campus Director, Larry Litchfield.
Thank you and welcome to the Fall 2016 Commencement ceremonies for the recent graduates of Ameritech College of Healthcare. We're excited to have our graduates here, and we're excited to have each of you here as well. We appreciate your attendance, and we really appreciate the support that you've given to your graduating student. It's really difficult to have a member of the family attend school. It's an extra burden, extra pressure, and stress on the other family members. I know firsthand. With 4 children, I went back to school, and my beautiful wife, she survived. Wasn't sure she was going to sometimes, but she did. So we know how tough it is, and so we really appreciate you and your support for your students. Graduates, you have officially completed your studies and you're ready to move into your professional careers. We are excited to be a part of it. We're excited that we were able to have the opportunity to work with you through the time that you were at Ameritech College. And in fact, this ceremony this evening is designed to transition you from your studies into your professional careers. This ceremony also represents an official endorsement of your readiness to enter the workforce as graduates with the skills and the dispositions to become competent professionals in your chosen field of study. Yesterday, I, along with some of my colleagues, had the privilege to attend a Healthcare Heroes Awards luncheon. It was organized and hosted by Utah Business, and we were able to see several individuals receive various awards and honors. These individuals came from a wide variety of professionals, and professions, I should say, within the healthcare industry, and represented multiple disciplines. It was really significant for us because our own Dr. Julie Aiken, our CEO, was one of the recipients of the award for her work as an educator in the healthcare field. She could have easily had another award for her many years of service as a practitioner in the healthcare community as well. As I listened, while each of their backgrounds were read, I listened to their experience and their education and their training and the things that they did, 2 things stood out. One, each of these individuals had a passion for their work. And that passion led to them affecting and changing lives and making a huge difference with all the people they came in contact with. So graduates, my charge to you tonight is have a passion for your career, have a passion for your work. Thereby you too can make a difference in the lives of the people that you serve and that you touch. So as we commence our ceremony this evening, we'd first be pleased to hear from our graduate student speakers, and they will follow the order as listed in the program. We'll first hear from Brad Gordon, who's a dental laboratory technician, followed by, she arrived, not yet.
She's on her way.
She's on her way, good. Maybe a little out of order then. But Brianne Chrisman is our medical assistant student representative. Heather Margetts will follow as the associate degree student nursing, and then Keith Cunningham, our RN to bachelor degree nursing program. So we'll go to that point. Brad?
Good evening. Firstly, I'd like to say thank you very much for the opportunity to say a few words about the DLT program. It's truly an honor. Words like excellence, quality, wonder, transcendence, intrigue, and even humor are a few words that come to my mind when thinking back upon my experience at Ameritech. There were definitely quite a few playful moments which made several of us in class laugh out loud, for sure. You guys know what I'm talking about. One of my favorite absolute words is a German word, and it's pronounced sprezzatura. It means making something look easy or seemingly effortless. I love this because in reality, making something look easy or effortless is really hard. It actually takes a lot of work, a lot of hard work. Now, to quote an amazing author, a favorite author of mine, Robert Greene, we all admire the achievement of some unusual feat, but if it is accomplished naturally and gracefully, our admiration increases tenfold. The DLT program equipped us with the foundations of technique, ingenuity, competence, proficiency, experience, dexterity, and knowledge, which I believe to be the concept of grace itself. Now, when imagining the things that myself and my fellow DLT graduates are going to accomplish over the next months or years, it builds a sense of pride to know that I was involved, and provides a gift of powerful confidence as we move forward to that day when we realize that our sprezzatura is in full effect. In the third semester, we were informed that we would be surprised about how much we actually knew or how much we learned in our DLT program as we moved from our first semester's knowledge onward, progressing through every layer. Not only was I surprised, I was completely amazed. Everything cold together and a light bulb of realization lit up at my core, and a complete pure knowing that this would be a profession that I would take with me for the rest of my life. There's a fleeting element of bittersweetness here because I feel like I could continue on through the program for another semester or two, because it's really challenging to put into words how beneficial this program was for me, and I'm sure for my fellow students. So, in closing, with warmth and light, I suspect that I speak for everyone who has journeyed through the Dental Lab Technician program at Ameritech College of Healthcare by saying thank you to Tyler and Jared and the entire faculty for an experience that was truly precious and highly noble. Thank you so much.
Welcome, everyone. Sorry. I'm pretty short, so. Okay, I would like to start by thanking you all for coming to share the new beginning of our future. Picking a school is not an easy thing to do. It is a lot like buying a new car. We visit each place in hopes one will meet our needs. As soon as you pull up to the dealership, the staff comes running to greet you, to get you to sign on the dotted line before even reading the contract. However, with Ameritech, it did not feel that way. Instead, they were patient with our decision and answered all the questions without the expectation of us saying, "Sign me up." It is important to feel confident that the school you will pick will help you be successful in your journey. One thing I did not expect was to meet such amazing people. Without my friends or teachers, I would not have so many memories to take with me. Some of my favorite memories
would be the time we really demonstrated how to check for testicular cancer, or the time we were setting up sterile trays and Ben would trick us into speaking, contaminating it, making us restart. And don't worry, we did not forget about you, Melissa. Although we barely had time to get to know you, we would like to thank you for never giving up on helping us learn. We appreciate all of you for always putting a smile on our faces and encouraging us to push through our challenges. Without you, we would not have the success that we have today. I know I speak on behalf of all of us when I thank our teachers and each other for helping us to achieve our academic goals. I will, however, not miss the bruises and pokes from phlebotomy and pharmacology class, but I appreciate the valuable lesson that I learned about how the patient feels, aka it hurts. I look forward to the future of helping patients and their families get through any life challenges. As a medical assistant, we are the voice for our patients. It is important to make sure our patients feel heard and understood. We are the first person to represent the kind of care they will receive from our doctors. I want to encourage everyone to keep learning and never stop trying to be your very best. We will all go forth and be successful in the future thanks to the tools and knowledge we gained here at Ameritech. Congratulations to the class of 2016.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out to show support to your loved ones on this special day for them. This is an impressive turnout. What an honor to not only be here speaking to you at graduation, but to be standing here. I'd like to thank the Ameritech faculty and staff for providing me with such a special privilege. I'd also like to give quick recognition to my husband, our children, Soraya and Corbin, my parents, and the rest of my family and loved ones. I love you tremendously. Thank you for your more than generous support over these years, because without you, I wouldn't be here. The saying that it takes a village is spot on. I won't take too much of everyone's time this evening, but I'd just like to share a quick little story with you. A little over 10 years ago, I met my husband, John. I remember we were driving up to Ruth's Diner on one of our first dates, discussing our goals and ambitions. I was in school at that time, working on my medical assisting, but knew that my journey was just getting started. My husband had told me that he wanted to be an engineer, and I knew at some point I wanted to be a nurse. 6 years ago, I started taking my prerequisites at Salt Lake Community College. While attending classes at night, I was working full-time during the day as a medical assistant and raising my family. I had been in school for about 2 years when my husband told me that he wanted to start classes to work towards his engineering degree. I thought to myself, if I were reading an insanity scale, surely this would be close to a 10 on its rating. And boy, was I right. Seriously, how are we both supposed to work full-time, be students, and raise our 2 children? Every semester, we would sit down together and discuss our schedules to ensure that we were not making any haphazard decisions and that someone would be home with our children. If that meant that I was taking a class at 8 p.m. because his got out at 7:30, then that is what we would do. Oftentimes, we were passing each other at odd hours of the night. Sometimes we only knew that we had a spouse from the change of clothes that we would find, or the extra coffee cup that would be out. But no matter what our schedules were, we knew that the payoff in the long run was worth the sacrifice in the short run. Eventually, we became a well-oiled machine, making it all work. We'd take our turns helping our kids with their homework. I still remember one Saturday morning, I fixed my daughter her cup of hot chocolate, and I fixed a cup of coffee. We worked on her chemistry homework together. Those were proud moments for me. It made me feel good to know that the time I was sacrificing away from my family had come full circle and was already being of benefit. I'd prepare a bunch of freezer meals in between semesters to help prepare for the next several months of chaos. Every year, my mom would take our kids to their cabin for a week in the summertime to afford me the time to study right before finals. and we'd plan a short family vacation every year. The vacations, however, proved to be slightly tricky because mine and John's schedules did not line up. So we would literally have one weekend off together, usually Mother's Day. Sorry, Mom and Terry. We'd pull our kids out of school on a Friday and head out of town until Sunday evening. I remember the semester I took anatomy and film and culture. I had film and culture on Monday nights until 10:30 and a 45-minute commute home. Tuesday I had anatomy lecture until 7:30, and then I'd attend open anatomy lab until 9 and then drive home again. Wednesday night was anatomy lab until 9:30, and Thursday I had lecture until 7:30. Thursday night would be the first night of the week that I would make it home early enough to actually tuck my kids into bed while they were still awake. Thursday nights were always my favorite for that very reason. It was my reminder that everything I was doing had a purpose, because sometimes things felt lost in translation. I wasn't just doing it for myself, but I was doing it for my family, because this journey has not just been mine, it's been theirs as well. Throughout school, there was no option to temporarily put life on hold, as I think most of us wished or hoped that we could. I lost my grandmother. A year later, I lost my grandfather. And 10 months later, I lost a dad. Those were devastating times for me. I cannot say how many times I wanted to throw in the towel. But throughout it all, I learned that the greatest gift you can give yourself is to keep going. Our destiny is created by our decisions. Our dreams can become a reality. Each goal is a milestone, and only you can write your own legacy. Education is the one thing that no matter what, no one can ever take away from you. It's not just an investment in your future, it's an investment in yourself. So congratulations to all the Ameritech classes of 2016. The tassels are worth the hassle.
This seems oddly familiar. I got to speak at my associate's graduation just a year ago, so it's good to be back with you. Before I begin my address, though, I'd like to give you a good example of why it's so important that the standards are so high at Ameritech College of Healthcare and the nursing program specifically. I work in a cardiac cath lab, and one of the things that I'm responsible for doing is placing PICC lines, peripherally inserted central catheters into patients so that they can get the medications or the fluids that they need, sometimes very quickly. I had one of those occasions just last week, and as I laid out the sterile field rather quickly and began to scrub in fairly quickly, there was a student there that was wanting to watch the procedure, and I said, well, are you comfortable with sterile field? And she was able to say, yeah, I am. So I said, start throwing the stuff on the table. And it was a wonderful thing to be able to focus on finding my access point on that patient while someone that I could trust set up my sterile field for me and got the materials out that I needed. So thank you to the instructors. It makes a difference. We have behind me administrators, instructors, doctors of nursing practice, master's prepared individuals, bachelor prepared individuals, now associates prepared individuals. And I'm grateful to be here among all these wonderful people and their experience and all that they have to offer. I'm grateful to Ameritech College and the administration for the opportunity to continue my education. I did my, again, as I mentioned, I did my associate's program through Ameritech and then went to the bachelor's program. It's been wonderful. And these are great people, and I appreciate all that they do for us. And I appreciate all that the staff do for us, too. Joelle and all of her help, and you know all these folks, they're just wonderful. And so important to our success. Some of the things I'm going to mention, you've heard a little bit already from these wonderful speakers that have gone before me, so I apologize, but maybe the fact that they're being repeated is because it's so important. I first became acquainted with the term lifelong learning or lifelong learner in my second semester. I think it was Dr. Holloway who was seated behind me who mentioned that to me, and she did it. And I believe it was in this context. I was concerned, you know, that I'm not a young guy, but I'm enjoying studying, and I wanted her thoughts on that. She said, well, I believe in lifelong learning. I'm a lifelong learner myself. And she indicated that she had gone back to school after her children were raised, and correct me if I'm wrong, and continued her education. And it gave me that courage and what I needed to keep going in the second semester and complete. I have some examples of lifelong learners that I'll share with you. Before I do that, perhaps a definition. Lifelong learning is the ongoing, voluntary, and self-motivated pursuit of knowledge for either personal or professional reasons. Evolved from the term lifelong learners, the term recognizes the learner is not confined to that learning is not confined to childhood or to a particular physical location like a classroom or a school, but can take place throughout life and in a range of situations and contexts. The Adults Learning Project, subtitled A Fresh Approach to Theory and Practice in Adult Learning, in that document, Alan Tuff, a Canadian educator and researcher, claimed that almost 70% of all learning projects are self-planned and self-motivated. And I would add that those projects are more often and most often successful because they're generally largely run by the adult learner who has chosen to learn and who has made that their goal. Dr. Holloway, my first example of lifelong learner, I so appreciate her example and her guidance and early on her willingness to offer herself as a mentor for me. That's invaluable. Her example and what she's accomplished, again, helped me to not only continue the bachelor's program, but to probably go on to another either master's or a doctor of nursing program soon. Dr. Cheryl Smith, who taught our statistics course, is another wonderful individual who has her doctorate. At least she has her PhD. And she's a wonderful individual who came from very difficult circumstances in humble beginnings and now has several degrees and teaches for the program. And then one other, or maybe two more examples. I don't want to take too much time, but David Haskell, who is adjunct faculty for the program, for your program. Some of you may have had him as a clinical instructor. Works at Timpanogos Regional, and he was my clinical instructor in one of my semesters, and early on emphasized the importance of continuing our learning and moving forward. In fact, if I recall, he actually gave us the numbers. He told us how many people, how many nurses in the hospital had their associates, how many had their bachelors, the number that had their masters, and then those that actually had been doctorally prepared nurses. And it was amazing how the numbers just dwindled you up as you might expect. At that time, there were, I believe, 6 or 7 master prepared nurses and 2 that had their doctor of nursing practice. And just what a wonderful example of that. Now, he continues to be a good example. He actually is, while he's working full-time as an administrator at the hospital and doing clinicals with these students still and our students, he's also working on a program that's preparing him to be a chief nursing officer for one of the hospitals. So we have around us, all around us, wonderful examples of lifelong learners. So just pay attention to those and try to adopt what you see, their attributes and their characteristics into your life. I wanted to share one example or one personal experience I had as I began. I was in another business for almost 28 years before I decided I was going to get into the medical field. I went into emergency medicine, became an EMT, and while I was an EMT, ended up in management there. And then on one occasion, you know how you have those occasions in your life that you can kind of look back to and point out and go, that was a turning point in my life. You know, we all had those, right? If you think about it, or if you haven't, you're going to have one someday if you look for it. And this individual, I had a patient in my ambulance who was fairly stable but needed to go to the hospital. So we had, I worked out in Windover. You guys know where Windover is. So that's a 2.5-hour drive in. Had plenty of time to visit with him. And he was another one of those lifelong learners. Now, I didn't know what a lifelong learner was at the time. Looking back in retrospect, I can pick out several that have been kind of placed in my path to teach me and encourage me. But he was one of those. He, after he had raised his family, went back to school, got his master's in business administration, and was very interested that I was taking my prerequisites for nursing because he had actually ended up the administrator of a small nursing home that became a chain of nursing homes. And that was all done after he turned 40 or 45, as I recall. But as he talked to me, and this was mentioned a moment ago, that once you receive your education, nobody can take that from you. You see, and he took the time to explain to me, because he knew as I did, that as you go through life, and you get a little bit older, you begin to understand that life sometimes gets to the point where it takes more from you than it gives you. And he knew that. And he said, you know, I've had businesses and I've lost businesses. I've had homes and I've lost homes. And I've had, and he mentioned a few other things, a little bit more personal, but he said, you know, when I got my education, it was one thing that nobody could take from me. And that's important to remember. And that stuck with me, and that was that turning point for me. That was what I needed at that time while I was working my prerequisites and wondering, you know, does this old guy really want to do this? You know, is it really worth the time? It just was that one little thing that kind of pushed me over the edge and let me do it. Well, you've been encouraged by another that spoke here just a moment ago, and I'm sorry to remember her name, to continue your learning. And I would echo that for you. We have wonderful opportunities placed before us if we'll just take advantage of them. But we have to be motivated, and that's been talked about a little bit too. A little bit about motivation. Motivation to learn is an internal and naturally occurring thing, and we that are human beings, that is enhanced and nurtured by supportive relationships. You folks that supported us through all of these programs. I lost my light. Opportunities for personal choice and responsibility for learning, and personally relevant and meaningful tasks. I would leave with you a challenge to all of you that are graduating today and all of the various programs, that you continue your learning. A quote, one more quote, and then I'll sit down. Les Brown, who's a motivational speaker and a former member of the Ohio House of Representatives, said, "You're never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream." So my challenge to you, folks, is dream a new dream. Think of a new challenge. Move forward. Continue to learn. Become a lifelong learner, that your life will be enriched, and so that you can prepare yourself so that you can be of greater service to your fellow man. Thank you.
We'd like to give a sincere thank you for our graduate speakers. They did a great job, didn't they? One more round of applause. At this time, I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Kathy Holloway. Dr. Holloway joined the Ameritech College RN to BSN program as full-time faculty in 2014. After a diverse career in clinical nursing practice and nursing education. She has been a registered nurse for over 35 years. Wait a minute. She told me she was only 39. I'm not sure how that works. She began with a nursing diploma from Mount Carmel School of Nursing in Columbus, Ohio. Her initial nursing licensure was followed by a BSN and MA in mental health counseling from Bowling Green State University. Later in her career, she earned a master's degree in nursing education from the University of Toledo, followed by a doctoral degree in nursing education from Duquesne University in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Dr. Holloway is certified as a nurse educator by the National League for Nursing. Dr. Holloway's areas of professional interest are online nursing education, holistic nursing, and mental health issues, especially depression. She's lived in Northwest Ohio with her husband, Tom, and I practiced this several times, and it just didn't quite work. And an anesthesiologist for 35 years and has 2 grown children, Amanda, a physician, and Josh, a graduate student in history. In her spare time, which must be between midnight and 6 a.m., she loves to spend time flower gardening, spending time with her family, traveling, and enjoying her 3 cats. Please give a warm welcome for Dr. Kathy Holloway.
I think that's good. Thank you for the introduction. I wish I was however old he said he thought I was. That would be great. Greetings to all of our graduates, guests, my peers and colleagues. It's really an honor to be here tonight and to be able to give just a few points that I think would be helpful to the graduates. And it's a real pleasure. I've graduated myself a few times, as you can hear by my introduction, so I've kind of been through what you've all been through. I didn't have a family for some of my education, and then I had a family, and then I went back, so I understand getting babysitters and all the complications that we sometimes have and challenges. So I've been there with you all. So when I was thinking about what am I going to talk about for just a few minutes, I thought, okay, this just all of a sudden came to me. I'm going to share with you 10 lessons that I've learned in my 35 plus years as a registered nurse. And I'm going to start with number 10 and end with the point that or the lesson that I think is probably the most important, although they're all important. So the first point, if you make a mistake, grow from it. Learn why the error occurred and how you can prevent the error from happening again. Everyone makes mistakes. Be careful with words. They're a powerful tool, but can also be a sharp and powerful weapon. Never be afraid to ask for help. And even use the word help if you need to. Sometimes that gets you the quickest action. Never be afraid to say, I don't know about something. Not knowing provides room for personal and professional growth. As a holistic nurse, I learned that not knowing is actually a thing, one of the words I use all the time, and not knowing provides the opportunity to provide a genuine and spontaneous healing experience to whomever you're working with. And that can apply to all of our graduates. You could provide that healing moment to your coworkers, your patients, your clients, your family. So don't ever be afraid to say, I don't know. Always do the right thing, even if no one else can see you. I think that's an interesting point. You'll sleep better at night that way. Be a team player. If you're in a leadership position, learn how to delegate. If you're a team member, participate. Look for ways to be engaged. Keep current in your area of expertise. And I'm going to kind of follow on what Keith said. Be a lifelong learner. I tried to encourage all my adult students, and some have been out of nursing for a few years. I was too, and I always share with them. I didn't go back for my RN to BSN degree for almost 15 years after I earned my diploma. Back then, there were lots of diploma programs, more than associate degree. So sometimes you have to wait until the time is right. But I think the most important point is you're never too old to learn if you have that desire. Build relationships. This is a huge part of being successful regardless of what area you're in. Relationship building includes your patients, your clients, your coworkers, your administrators, your supervisors, and it goes on and on and on. Always show that you care. Common courtesy, kindness, and compassion can prevent lots of problems and can actually change the atmosphere in a room. And I think everyone here can appreciate that point. You can probably all think of examples yourself. And then the number one lesson that I've learned, and I didn't learn this until I was a little older, sometimes it takes a while, take care of yourself first. I challenge each of you to reflect on your own state of physical, mental, and spiritual health and well-being. Incorporate activities into your lives that nurture your creativity, your mental and spiritual well-being, and your body. Eat healthy when you can, but an occasional Astro burger and fries nurtures the spirit. Exercise when you can. Get your rest. Hang around positive people, and you will be the best that you can be. This will affect your attitude about work, your ability to build relationships, to be a productive part of the team, and for you to see the glass half full instead of half empty. Self-care creates a feedback loop to those first 9 lessons. So, by taking care of yourself, you will want to grow from your mistakes. You will be careful choosing your words. You will not be afraid to ask for help. You will do the right things, even when no one is looking. And you will build strong relationships because you really do care. Best wishes to all the graduates for a long and successful career.
Thank you, Dr. Holloway, for some very good advice. Graduates, a little bit of a surprise, but you should be used to this now. There will be a quiz before you can get your diploma here, so I hope you have those 10. And it's perfect. 10 is a great number for a quiz, don't you think? So just saying. Well, maybe not. At this time, we'd like to begin the presentation of diplomas. So graduates, as you proceed to the stage, you'll enter on my left and come across the stage, pick up your diploma cover, exit over to my right, and then over on the back corner, there will be a place for a picture. So pause for that, and then the ushers will lead you around so that you come back to your seats when it's over. So I'll now turn this portion of the ceremony over to Linda Peterson, Vice President of Student Services.
We would like at this time to recognize graduates who've shown academic excellence by achieving a cumulative grade point average of 3.75 or greater as signified by a gold cord, and a 4.0 with a double gold cord throughout their education at Ameritech College. The red cord represents perfect attendance, and a red, white, and blue cord represents military service. Lastly, but most importantly, we would like at this time to recognize any members of the military from our grads, staff, faculty, and in our audience tonight. Please stand in order for us to acknowledge your service with our applause. We truly appreciate your sacrifice on our behalf. We'll begin with the graduates of our Bachelor of Science Nursing Degree Completion Program. Jennifer Peterson. Caitlin Amy Lester. Nielsen. Jessica Pugmire. Cash Joseph Howard. Now we're pleased to welcome our medical assisting graduates. Lyric Justice Owens. Jasmine Kim Sharp. Maddie Andrus. Danielle Marie Fife. Tanya Baker. Valera Hernandez. Masa Sadapur. Analia Alvarado. Madison LeBaron. Delaney McCrae. Kimberly Wright. Cynthia Rojero. Alexis Torres Espinoza. Kimberly Manzo. Callie Wildeboer. Diana Maldonado. Recognize the Associate of Science in Nursing graduates. Tracy Gilman. Cassie Ray. Allison Hubble. Paige Christiansen. Amber Chavez. Jessica Johnson. Jeanette Stout. Yolanda Lopez. Lindsay Bonner. Jordan Campbell. Robin Palmer. Liz Duthie. Shannon Boswell. Jamie Reading. Chelsea Compton. Anthony Scott Pearson. McCall Thomas. Josie Sullivan. Dakota Van Buren. Rhonda Fruhan. Mariah Paige Williams. Melissa Good. Cheyenne Flores. Brian Gregory Flood. Lauren Ward. Stacy Durfee. Erica Pennington. Braden Pack. Miranda Garlick. Heather Margetts. Alice Griffith. Alexis Snell. Jennifer Richardson. Stacy Elmer. Curtis Farnsworth. Curtis Buckmiller.
We're really excited for our graduates. Great job. Thank you once again and congratulations. You did a great job. You know, the one thing I was looking for from any of the graduates, I was looking for tears of sadness. That they really didn't want to leave us. They wanted to stay. They wanted to come back, you know, Monday and go to class and take tests and study hard. I didn't see one graduate that cried. I just don't understand that. There will be tears afterwards, I'm sure, tears of joy and happiness that this stage of your learning is over with. But for now, we're excited to let you go. We're happy to have had you. It was great to have you in orientation that very first day, where all of you lied and said you were excited to be here and you weren't scared to death, and you all were. We knew that. But it's so fun to see what you've accomplished and to see the results of your hard work. So thank you. That's wonderful. To conclude this evening, we'll turn the remainder of the ceremony over to Ms. Nicolette. I am really having a good time tonight. Nicolette Watkins, Dean of Academic Affairs of our Draper campus. She will confer the diplomas and present the graduates. Ms. Watkins.
Will all candidates for graduation please rise? On behalf of Ameritech College of Healthcare, I certify that each of these candidates has met the academic standards and completed all necessary graduation requirements. At this time, graduates, please move your tassels from the right to the left, signifying the completion of your studies and transition from your academic experience to your professional career. The status of Ameritech College graduate with the rights, honors, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining. Graduates, at this time, please turn and face the audience. If you would take a moment and make eye contact with your friends and family in attendance this evening. Graduates, along with your hard work, there have been others who have made sacrifices on your behalf, spouses, children, parents, and others. Remember that your time in college was not easy for them either. Graduates, I would now ask that you give a round of applause to those who have sacrificed and stood at your side for your to conclude our ceremony, it is with pride and full confidence that I present the most recent graduating class of Ameritech College of Healthcare. Good night, and thank you all for attending.